Help mentally retarded children send Little City Christmas and holiday cards.
Greetings, manic depressives. A gaggle of pollsters told a congressional committee that public confidence in government is about as low as it's ever been, particularly about the economy. Well, no wonder. Take what happened recently at the House of Representatives cafeteria in Washington. The menu features bean soup made with Michigan #1 beans. Oh, no, it wasn't. For 2 years, house bean soup has been made with another kind of bean. Michigan #1s had been exported. Good for the economy, but not for the confidence. After all, if the House will lie to its own about beans, what won't it do to us? Well, despite a fearsome desire to shine the journalistic bright light of truth and justice on the House bean fraud, we won't be going to Washington this weekend. Here are some of the places we will go.
The Missouri River, where they spent $50 million on a dam, and then found out it was in the wrong place. New York City, where the newest of the big-name glamorous models is a 5'10" Somali who says she used to herd cows.
Right into the camera, then.
Detroit, Michigan, where the crowds gather to watch knockout karate, the new spectator sport, with one object: blood.
An unusual flood, an unusual model, an unusual sport. Not to mention 2 perfectly ordinary station breaks and 24 moderately priced commercials.
Dear Sirs, I have never written to any company before, but I just had to let you know how great Tone soap with cocoa butter is. Even when you wash your face with Tone, it leaves your skin feeling soft, smooth and moist. Plus, the smell is great. It's just everything it's advertised to be. Thank you for Tone soap with cocoa butter and moisturizers. Mrs. Marilyn Singsime, Helenville, Wisconsin.
Tone, the soap with cocoa butter and moisturizers.
Dutch Masters has something new for this holiday. Brand new antiques. Like this Indian jar with 25 Dutch Masters Panatellas, or 25 Panatellas in an authentic-looking old-time cigar tin, or 25 Dutch Masters Presidents in a scenic opaline jar. Brand new antiques from Dutch Masters. A new way to keep an old tradition. Giving handsomely wrapped boxes of Dutch Masters cigars for the holidays.
Up in the valley of the Jolly Green Giant.
Mighty fine likeness, Sprout.
Aw, it's easy drawing the giant's mushrooms, 'cause you can see them.
That's why he packs them in jars, so folks can see how extra fancy, plump, and full of flavor they are. They come whole or sliced. Delicious. Green Giant brand mushrooms.
Like them?
First rate, Sprout, but you can't top the giants.
Green Giant.
Some hot lather dispensers decide what lather temperature they think is hot enough for you. Not this new General Electric Shaver's Choice. This model's got variable heat control. Gives me my choice of how hot I want my lather. Shaver's Choice gives me my choice of over 30 leading creams and gels, and even dispenses aftershave lotion. Do a shaver a favor. Give him his choice of creams, choice of heat, choice of aftershave lotion. Shaver's Choice, new from GE.
President Ford took as much time to make up his mind about New York City as General Franco's doctors took with him. Someone suggested that Gerald Ford of Grand Rapids, Michigan, could neither feel nor appreciate the problems of a big city, that he was reflecting the small-town attitudes he grew up with, the feelings about big cities past and present, from Sodom and Gomorrah to downtown Manhattan. We didn't know, so we sent a film crew to Grand Rapids.
Well, President Ford used to live there a couple years ago, and there's people in there renting it right now. It's kind of interesting because a lot of people, you know, they kind of drive by and kind of stop and look at it all the time. There's another house on the block.
Green Giant.
Up in the valley of the Jolly Green Giant. Mighty fine likeness, Sprout.
Up in the valley of the Jolly Green Giant.
There's another house on the block.
Anyone in Grand Rapids can tell you that Gerald Ford used to go to this church and play high school football on a field now used as a vegetable garden. The sign of the family paint business is still there, but there's more of Ford than that. A smiling President Ford is featured in a downtown store window celebrating the bicentennial. Money's being raised for a Jerry Ford mural. And for $1, anyone can buy a Jerry Ford drinking glass. It does not dribble.
I don't like the city of New York. I have been there. It's too large a city for me. I'm a small town Midwesterner.
I don't like big cities, so I stick with the little city.
Like in Buffalo, I think the people are super out there. They're really nice people, but right in the city of New York, I thought they were really snappy people.
Just too many giveaway programs.
People are sick of the handouts. I mean, welfare and, public aid, everything else.
If people would spend within their means, why, they'd be all right.
Our Grand Rapids Press, for instance, that they were saying the officials had telephones in their cars, and that was costing something like $1,400 a month. Now, to me, I think that's extravagance.
Yeah, they kind of went overboard on some of their sophisticated monuments and statues and things like that.
But so many relatives of the mayor are just put in city government, drawing wages and doing nothing. Well, that's what I read in the paper.
Well, they're spending more than what they're taking in. It's got to come from somewhere. And Uncle's getting kind of bone dry. Right? Right.
Fun place to visit, maybe not to live.
As a local lawyer and congressman, Ford took his coffee breaks here at the Knife and Fork.
This is what he had for breakfast. 2 pecan rolls, 2 cups of coffee. You always pour his coffee right away, 2 cups at a time. But he always liked one to be cool. And a large orange juice. Mr. President.
Jerry Ford's doing the right thing. I don't know if we need to spend our federal dollars on saving the city. New York bundled or blew it themselves.
Is the cure going to be worse than the disease, the one that's been proposed? My parishioners don't seem to think so.
You cannot spend more than you take in.
We have to live within our means, and I think the people there should live within their means.
Why should we feel responsible for the situation that New York has gotten themselves into?
If they help New York, they're going to have to help everybody else, because it's going to be the same problem all over. This one's going to start crying, that one's going to start crying, and where do you end up?
I don't think we should pull them out at all. I think they better pull their own self out.
I don't think we ought to bail them out. I think everybody should help out everybody, straighten things out, really. If they don't work together, it'll be good.
150. These people can go down to Texas and say, let New York rot, forgetting that their own ancestors got their start from Ellis Island and on New York welfare to get to the point where they could go to Texas and make their millions. Maybe we owe them something on that score.
The president grew up here, and the highway named for him runs across the Grand River, where there is visible evidence of Ford's fondness for his hometown. Idle New Yorkers visit massage parlors and porno movies. In Grand Rapids, the spare time attraction is the 6th Street Fish Ladder, where you can see coho salmon, trout, and carp make the trip upstream. Self-reliance is for the other fellow. When funds from the Interior Department and some local folks fell short, Gerald Ford, then vice president, saved the fish ladder. He helped convince the National Endowment for the Arts to pony up $40,000. A giant leap forward for the art of fishing and a helping hand to friends and neighbors.
To spend quite a bit of money across the ocean, we just want to leave it over here.
When the Netherlands had a great flood a few years ago, we all went to their rescue. Why can't our country as a whole go to the rescue in New York now?
I can't see the president sending money overseas every day after day and not helping somebody here in our own country.
we give so much money of ours away, and how many countries help us back?
They can bail out every other country in the world, but why not bail out New York? Personally, I feel that this is America, you know. Let's help ourselves first.
It was 45 years after the 6th Street Dam was built that the fish ladder was opened. For those 45 years, fish heading upstream had to fend for themselves. No federal bailout for them. If they couldn't jump high enough, well, just too bad. New York City got its help in only 7 months, proving that people really are more important than salmon.
This Christmas, give a Kodak camera that's like 2 cameras in one. The new Kodak Tele-Instamatic camera. One camera that will take this picture, and then with a flick of the finger, this picture. It's a pocket camera that has 2 built-in lenses. So you have a choice between normal and telephoto each time you shoot. The Kodak Tele-Instamatic camera, like 2 cameras in one. Less than $36 at your photo dealers.
When Mom and I went to buy Dad a hot lather machine, there were so many, I asked the salesman which one we should buy. He said the Schick hot lather machine.
You know, Schick has sold more hot lather machines in the last 5 years than anybody else. Schick believes so much in its machine, it now has a full 5-year warranty.
5 years? That's even older than me. This Christmas, we're giving Dad the Schick hot lather machine. Now it's a full 5-year warranty.
RCA introduces TV that thinks in color. The new RCA XL100 Color Track System. Here's what thinks in color means to you. It means an advanced new picture tube to sharpen contrast. It means automatically keeping out the colors that can spoil natural flesh tones. It means keeping the colors you like from scene to scene, from channel to channel to channel. It means keeping colors rich and vivid, bright light or dim light. It means RCA's most vivid color, most automatic system, and for reliability, the most tested TV in RCA history. The new RCA XL100 Color Track System. It thinks in color.
Records are kept every year of important floods throughout the world. There were 4 last year, the worst in Bangladesh and Brazil. Nowhere in those records will the little town of Niobrara, Nebraska be mentioned. It ought to be. This is Gavin's Point Dam on the Missouri River at Yankton, South Dakota. Gavin's Point was one of 6 dams built after World War II to control flooding along the Missouri. It was finished in 1957. 3 years later, in 1960, some people began to wonder about the dam, about what it was doing. By 1970, they were no longer wondering, they knew. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers apparently built Gavin's Point Dam in the wrong place. Built in this location, Gavin's Point Dam is causing flooding 35 miles upstream in the little town of Niobrara, Nebraska. Its main street doesn't look flooded, but it is. The whole town is. The flooding is so bad that Niobrara, all of it, is being moved to a hilltop a half-mile away. Still, the flood can't be seen. Niobrara is being flooded from underneath. The water table is rising. The water oozes up, cracks and rots foundations, destroys crops, trees, and shrubs. As the people are forced to move, a nice little town is about to become a deserted bog. This house belongs to Leland McGraw. It's been in his family more than 100 years. He and his wife live here. They always have. They must move.
Now you folks can see that I've had to block up my furnace, and about 3 blocks high, and I've got a brand new hot water heater over there that I've been wanting to put in here in the place of this one. I've not been able to do it.
Water has been in Mr. McGraw's basement for 12 of the last 15 years.
It's just been a terrible mess on us people. I'm no young man anymore, and it's been a terrible strain on my wife and everything like that. We've got fruit stored in the other side, canned goods. We've always canned and raised stuff here, and it's getting so that we just can't keep that stuff. I'm sure if they've never had put in the dam or anything like that, that we would be able to live here the rest of our lives and never have this trouble.
We are not talking about a little water in the basement when it rains, the kind suburban homeowners know. We're talking about 3 inches to 3 feet of water all the time in at least 50 of the homes in Niobrara, and not for just a few days, for years. Jim Snowden used to farm this land, getting 100 bushels of corn from each acre. Now it grows only weeds. Water is just under the surface. The Niobrara River used to be 17 feet under that bridge. Now it's about 5 feet. Here's how it happened. The Niobrara River comes out of Wyoming, flows across Nebraska, and joins the Missouri River about a mile downstream. The Niobrara has always carried a lot of dirt, but it never really mattered. The Missouri was swift enough to carry it away. 18 years ago, they put a dam 35 miles downstream at Yankton, South Dakota. The Missouri slowed up, the Niobrara slowed up, and instead of carrying the dirt away, it deposited it. As it did, the water underground rose, and the town of Niobrara was flooded out from underneath. To prevent that would have been very simple. All they had to do was take the dam and move it 35 miles upstream above the juncture of the 2 rivers. Had they done that, the dirt would still have been carried away, and there would still be 17 feet of space between the top of the river and the bottom of that bridge.
The rising of the water table. It's speculative in nature.
Joe B. Graham, Jr. is spokesman for the Corps of Engineers in Omaha.
I do know that there is no engineering proof that the Gavin's Point Reservoir is the occasion for the rising water table.
But at the Corps' Omaha headquarters, there is an inter-office memorandum dated 6 August 1970, which says right out where the high water table comes from. The memo says, in part, prior to the construction of the reservoir system, it says, the natural high flows flushed the channel in the area of this town site. Now, however, under present operations, controlled releases from Fort Randall Dam are insufficient to continue the flush action, thereby causing the present high water table condition at Niobrara. Translated from government officialese into simple English, that means the Missouri doesn't flow as swiftly as it did before Gavin's Point Dam was built. The dirt and sand settle instead of being swept away, water flow is reduced, and the water goes underground. A river that used to run deep and swift is now a caricature of a river.
We have no technical proof that says the construction of the Gavin Point Reservoir caused the raising of the groundwater. However, on the reverse side, we cannot prove that it did not.
For 10 years, Niobrara got a lot of bureaucratic mumbling and no help from the government. People gave up. Eberly Motors closed when gas was 28 cents a gallon and water was standing in the basements. People and businesses were beaten by a man-made flood. A theater, lumberyard, drugstore, clothing store, and farm implement dealer all closed. Even the barber finally quit, but by the time he did, he was able to sell his building to the government. Pushed by a Nebraska senator, Congress finally ordered the Corps of Engineers to move the town. Congress did not say who caused the flood, it just told the Corps to fix it. That sounds fair enough, but it isn't. It took 10 years for the government to agree to help and another 4 years to do anything. And during those 14 years, the people of Niobrara watched their town die. Not Congress nor the Corps can fix that. This may be the last year the homecoming rally is held on Main Street. In the new Niobrara, there are about 80 houses and 30 or so being built. About 250 people have moved into the new area. Their two main complaints are the constant wind and the price of the new homes, $32,000 and up. It means that even after selling their old homes to the government,